Hey, you guys, it's Dani. So, the other day I was perusing through YouTube and I came across Tara's video at Cozy Core Craft, hashtag Tarot of Exception. And I love this concept. I loved her video. That's all going to be linked down below. Um, but I thought it was brilliant because there are always those decks that will make you contradict yourself. I will always say, like, oh, I don't like this, or I won't have this. And then I always end up finding a deck that's an exception to the rule. Maybe not always, but a lot of times I do, even if it's just one. So I grabbed a couple of decks that I feel like broke those rules for me, but I still intensely love them. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few of those.
Okay, so as some of you may know this deck already, this is Deck of the Bastard. So this is one of my first exceptions. Why? This deck has many reasons. Let's turn it around. I'll take you through this one a bit. Now, forgive me because some of them are going to be upside down, inside out, you know, the usual. This is a Dani video. We don't come prepared. We just plop the cards on the table and we just take it easy, right? So, one of my main things is I'm not a huge fan of keywords on my tarot. I'm just not. I feel like sometimes they're very distracting, especially when there's like a chunk of words, right? Like a paragraph on the card or something like that. Then I feel like I have to stop and read it sometimes. And, you know, I don't know, they can be distracting. I don't mind something like the Thoth that has a single keyword that it's based on, whatever. I'm totally fine with that. But something like this that has keywords at the top and bottom, and then of course it's got the titles on the side, is not something that I usually go towards. I don't know if it's because of the aesthetics that are happening where everything, like, I don't know, I just find the keywords on this deck really easy to ignore. So it's become one that I really don't mind reading with. Another exception to my rule is that there are different decks in one deck, right? So there is the RWS in the minors and then a few other historical decks as our majors and our court cards. So this is a double whammy for me. Maybe even a triple. Like, it is just another RWS when it comes to the minors. But then it's a collab style and it's got keywords. I don't know. Everything says in my rule of tarot that I shouldn't like this deck. But I really, really do. And I don't know. I'm kind of iffy. Like, sometimes I use the keywords that are on there. Sometimes I ignore them completely. I feel like this is an easy deck to do that with. So I don't mind it. And honestly, it's fun. It's beautiful. It's really well made. These are the plastic cards, and I love the feel of them, if I'm being honest. I didn't think I would, but I do. I really do. So, Deck of the Bastard is definitely an exception to a few of my tarot rules, but I don't mind it. It is still here. It made a liar out of me, because I still use it. So, the next deck that is an exception to my normal tarot rules is Fifth Spirit Tarot. So if you guys know me by now, I'm not a huge fan of, like, I'm gonna kind of air quote, like, modern decks, as in, like, I don't want to see motorcycles, I don't really want to see cars, I really don't want to see computers, I don't want to come back into the modern world. I'm trying to look at the world beyond. So I often get modern decks and I try them and I don't like them and I rehome them and it's a vicious cycle. But somehow Fifth Spirit Tarot, I don't know, it just like crosses that path. And I think the main reason why, let's take a look at the deck, obviously. I think the main reason why is because of the minors. They're not people-y. Even though our court cards and our majors are very people-y, there's modern things in it. We got a boombox. Let's see if I can find another one to kind of show, like, bullhorn for the Knight of Swords. I mean, yeah, King of Swords, sorry. Yeah, the Queen of Wands has a microphone and a neon sign. Like, these kind of things should really throw me off. But, I don't know, when dealing with this deck, it just doesn't. And I think it's because of the space in the images. Especially my minors. I say my minors, the minors. Although there are modern things going on, there's so much room. It is not blatantly, I don't know, at least maybe not to me, like, not blatantly in your face, like, you can step outside into this world. Why? I don't know. Again, maybe it's just the space and the organic feel of this deck that makes it the exception to me. I don't know, there's so much about it that I just, like, I shouldn't like this deck. But somehow I really do. I really connect with it. It's like, it's got the perfect mix of, I don't know, modern concepts, but traditional ideas, maybe. Whatever it is, this is obviously my exception to the rule because I cannot get enough of this deck. I really can't. And it is modern and it's very outside that part of my aesthetic. But the simplicity of this deck, I think, is what really speaks to me. So definitely one that I feel like I shouldn't love, but I do. Up next is a deck that breaks my aesthetic rules. Everything about the coloration and the brightness of this deck really goes against a lot of what I look for in a tarot. Can anyone guess the muted colors, the limited palette? Well, this one has a limited palette, but muted colors it is not. And I'm talking about Zeke's Arcana. Y'all, I feel like everything about this deck is like, this is not a Dani deck. Like, what the hell? But what it has going for it is this weird as hell, which I do love. And I don't know, there's something about the characters and the way that it's done, even though it is bright, rainbows and sunshine, there is a weirdness and a surrealist vibe to it. It's cosmic, which is another thing that I don't normally get drawn to, very like alien outer space kind of starseed vibes. And this gives me those vibes, but I still am very drawn to this deck. It definitely breaks all the stereotypical things that I look for in a deck. This looks like, I don't know, just like, it looks kind of like Barbie Land, I guess. Which I loved Barbies as a kid. Maybe that's why it feels a little nostalgia, a little Lisa Frank to me. But then there's like really weird creatures and there's just like strange things going on. There are eyes everywhere. I do love eyes, you know. I don't even know what to say. I just feel like for some reason I'm so drawn to this deck, this like bright pink bubblegum deck, and it seems so crazy to me, but I thoroughly enjoy it. So while it is not my normal run-of-the-mill muted deck, it is definitely one in my collection that I truly love. I really do. There's something about it that just makes me excited. I don't know why, like excited. And I've had this for a while, and every time I pull it out, I get that same excited feeling. I don't know if it's just all the glitz and glamour of it, or just the really kind of impactful cards that are in here. Like, I don't know, they just make me stop and think. I don't know why. I feel like it leans thothy for me. Maybe that's because some of the images just feel really occulty and like multi-layered and multifaceted, even though it's just kind of like a surrealist thing. I feel like there are layers and layers and layers. I think the way that it's drawn, so it makes me feel like this could be, I don't know, like Thoth-ish, even though it's not. God, this is a beautiful deck. I mean, look at that. I mean, there's like rainbows and purple people and green hands and water and stars and what? But I love it still. I love it still. Like, what even is this moon? That is a Lisa Frank moon. That's what that is. Amazing. So weird, but so lovely. So, that's the Zeke's Arcana. Up next, let's talk about the Pussycat Tarot. So the Pussycat Tarot has a few things that normally I'm like, I don't know about that. One being the most obvious, they don't have the same backs throughout. Normally, I would be like, wait, I don't know if I like that. I mean, I don't often look at the backs of tarot. You know, when I put them down, when I lay my spreads out, I usually don't lay them out backside up, but on the occasion that I do, something like this might really bother me. I don't care about reversed backs, but usually I like them all to have the same backs. I do have one other exception, which is the Secret Forest Tarot, but again, it's not quite like this. The front and the back are basically similar. One's in black and white and one is in color, but you can like use them for different, I don't know, I don't really use that one like a tarot, so I feel like it doesn't really count. But this one I use like a regular tarot, so I feel like it counts. But when it comes to this is a multifaceted kind of deck. There are games and things, so I learned to overlook it really quickly. So with this deck, I just wouldn't lay it down face down unless it was for a reason, unless I was doing something with the backs, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, I don't let it bother me. But the main thing about this deck is that it is just a cat deck. Like, it's just cats. It's just cats. And normally, those don't stay with me. Like, I've had many that pass through that are like the dog tarots that are just cute dogs, cute cats, cats in clothes, animals clothed, you know, like I have animal decks, but not just like a dog tarot or a cat tarot that I've ever kept and loved. But the Pussycat Tarot, oh my gosh. I think maybe, again, there is a sense of oddness, like the eyes are all one color. Everything is a little theatrical, but also like the dark borders really get me. And they're not cats doing things that aren't cat-like. I don't know, they're just cats. They're not like cats doing weird things or caricatures of cats. They're like what a normal cat does. It just be catting around here, you know? And so there is a simplicity to this deck that I think draws me in so much. And like, I feel like I'm not being forced to believe that this cat is doing people things. Do you know what I mean? I think that's why I'm drawn so much to this, because it's not a cat trying to decide something. It's just a cat sitting there, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. It is very simplistic. It is very muted. Everything else really flows with my aesthetic. So while not, oh my God, Dani likes this. I know it's not surprising because it fits a lot of other bills. But to just be cats, it is unique in my collection. Very unique. Not something I would normally go to, but it did steal my heart. The last thing I want to talk about is one rule that I try and try and try to break, but my poor brain won't allow me. And that's a deck with multiple artists. So like a collaboration deck where every card is a different artist. I try and I try and I try. My poor brain can't take it. But I do have one exception at the moment. And that's the Corrupted Tarot. So here's the difference, I think. First, it has the same border throughout. Okay? So because it is a substantial black border, I feel like that alone kind of sets it to where, hey, all of these belong together. But I'm gonna put them out. There's something about this deck that I don't feel like I'm being jolted out of my reading by something so vastly different that it just gives me a headache. They have all a similar tone to them, most of them. So like this one in this would stand out a bit. However, the whiteness kind of ties into the whiteness of this Chariot. Also a beautiful Chariot. Look at this card. Look at this Chariot. Holy crap. Okay, but yeah, so it kind of ties me in with the same kind of thing here. I can look at this and my brain doesn't say, oh God, what's happening? Everything is so different. It just doesn't do that. And so this is definitely one of the first exceptions that I've used for as long as I have. Again, there are some images that don't quite flow, but on a whole, I can look at this deck in a spread and not, I don't want to say cringe, like, because that sounds like I'm being shitty about the art, and it's not about the artwork, it's about how it goes together collectively. My brain just doesn't like the inconsistency of it all. But somehow this one really does kind of, I don't know, settle my mind. Do you see what I mean? Like, I don't know. This one just works for me. And I'm just really surprised. This is a deck that was gifted to me, and I would have never picked it up because of the fact that it's collab. I would have been like, oh, it's beautiful. Some of these images are so beautiful, but like, I'm not gonna be able to do it. But having this one in my hands and being able to lay it out and like really looking at the deck as a whole and like how I can use it, whoever curated, I don't know the name right offhand, that's why I said whoever. Let me see, Wormwood. That put this together and curated this deck with these artists, it's phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. And as much as I love being able to see everyone's different art styles, sometimes it is a really big struggle to me. So I really appreciate this deck as a collaborative deck because I just feel like there is a cohesiveness to the entire deck that I'm here for. I feel like I finally found one that I can work with and feel comfortable with, and I think that that's amazing. And I will say, the whole concept of everything being the shadow side, the darker side of each card, I love it. I love it. It is another one of those that like really gets me in these, I don't know, excited vibes, you know? Like, just like really excited, fun energy when I work with a deck like this. It's also gilded in silver, which is not usually something that I care for, just like in general, because I'm not a huge fan of gilding, because it has a tendency to be kind of sharp and it kind of catches. But this is one of those where even though it's like really shiny and it feels like, oh my gosh, what was the deck? I had to peel it apart. Gosh, I can't remember. Anyway, it feels like one of the mass market gildings just on at the touch, but the second you start moving the cards around, you realize that, oh, that ain't it. This is actually a really great gilding. So another thing that normally I won't not buy a deck because of that, but I usually don't care for it. But this one I don't mind at all. So yeah, those are some decks that made a liar out of me.
So thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this VR. If you're looking for any of these decks, if they're available, I will have links down below. Also, down below, if you are interested in joining our Mystic fam, if you are interested in checking out 3 Fat Readers, booking a reading with me, checking out my website, all that good stuff, everything is going to be linked down below, so you can certainly do that. Otherwise, I will be back very soon. I'm sending you all my love. Mwah. Later, Gators.